Thursday, and talking with my parents during the Veterans Day dinner that we had a couple days ago. Our hometown team, the Buffalo Bills, are playing tonight against the Miami Dolphins in Miami, and it's being shown on the NFL Network, which I don't have, but they do, and they invited me out to go hang out with them and watch the game, so that's where I'm heading. I thought I'd record the adventure along the way, since I don't get out much in the evenings. I'm usually home, cooped up, and it's starting to get cold here, so yeah, I don't plan on getting out a whole lot in the evenings anyway. I usually like to stay home and keep warm myself. Of course, down here in the Carolinas, we're not used to frigid temperatures like we were used to back in the day in Buffalo. That's pretty funny. My wife is supposed to meet up with us, but chances are she's not going to make it because she's at our Charlotte office. But yeah, pretty funny. We've lived down here in the Carolinas since 1980. I mean, basically the very beginning. And I get past the signal, I'll tell you about the story. Alright, moving along now. So yeah, we moved here in 1980, originally from Buffalo. And after the blizzard of 77, some of you may not remember that. That's a long time ago, but it basically shut down the city for a few months. Of course, I was only 8 years old back then, but yeah, that was pretty much about it. And then, of course, Elvis had died in 77 that same year, and my mom was a huge Elvis fan. We wind up moving to Memphis, Tennessee, just a mile from Graceland. And yeah, that was true. So yeah, we continued on, lived there a couple of years. I didn't like Memphis at all. I mean, I really didn't. It was, I guess, mostly for the reason that I didn't like it was, I had a real strong northern accent back then. And moving to, quote, the heart of Dixie, as it was called, at least that's what I remember. Yeah, I was kind of made fun of and picked on and didn't really have a whole lot of friends in Memphis. And when I heard we were moving to the Charlotte area, that was late 79, I was really ecstatic about that because I was like, good, I don't want to go back to Memphis. And to this day, I haven't been back to Memphis. Really just had no reason to. And yeah, so we've been living here since 1980, but always been a Bills fan. Suffered through the 4 Super Bowls. I was in the Navy back then during Super Bowl 25, during the beginning of Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and I watched that Super Bowl in my barracks room and was just devastated when they lost by that field goal. And then Super Bowl 26 and 27, we were out at sea and missed those disasters, and get to see Super Bowl 28 and another defeat. And I was like, man, it's something to be proud of, sure, but I was kind of in the verge of looking for another team. Always have been a Bills fan, probably always will be. But then the Panthers came along in 94, and that was awesome. I was like, well, great. Now I've got one AFC, one NFC team to pull for. So, hence both my football teams are how they became to be my favorite sports teams. Never really had a thing for basketball or baseball. I grew up around football and hockey, and hockey's not real popular down here. I mean, it's around, but they don't broadcast the games very often, so yeah, kind of fizzled from that. But for the most part, though, it's been pretty much football season for me. Even when I'm in Mexico, I try to catch the games on Sunday. So yeah, anyway, just continuing our little drive here. Oh yeah, while I'm just rambling on, had a request about how my wife and I met, That's a pretty interesting story. You know, she's originally from Mexico, and I was working at another job. I was there about 10 years previously, and then basically had there was a relationship I was kind of in and out of in the late 90s, and it wasn't really going anywhere. And one of the co-workers that I worked with at my old job set my wife and I up on a blind date. This is back around 2000. I went to Nova Scotia to visit my family up there for a family reunion, probably around May, June of that year, and came home, and my wife and I basically dated for the next 6 months of 2000, and then before she came home to Mexico, that was, of course, you know, she always goes home for Christmas. I wound up proposing to her, and that was, yeah, she had 3 weeks basically planned for a wedding, because I wound up flying down to meet up with her. And yeah, it was kind of crazy, you know, just a spur of the moment type wedding, and 3 weeks for her to plan. That was basically it. We were engaged only that length of time. And then you know, once we were married, you know, it was basically when I flew to the country. It was like, I think January 13, you know, around 1 o'clock or so, 12:45, 1 o'clock, and by 11:30, 12 o'clock the next day, I'm basically married, less than 24 hours after arriving in the country. And yeah, then we wind up going to, you know, Tasco and Acapulco for the honeymoon. And yeah, so we were there maybe about 10 days or so, and yeah, had a great time. And ever since then, we've been making our trips to Mexico. So, and each time we go, we have a lot of fun. And of course now, you know, in the last couple of months, there's been a lot of chaos going on with regards to, you know, the missing students, and it sounds like they're, you know, they found remains of them and stuff, and, you know, it's just really been chaotic down there. Government, you know, corruption and all that. But yeah, kind of sad. You know, we try to keep away from all that mayhem, and, you know, I try to stay, you know, out of sight, out of mind. You know, I'm not looking for, you know, trying to get involved in any of that stuff. So, you know, I kind of keep to myself and do my own thing, going to, you know, the boutique or the restaurant, or just out and around with family and friends, you know, and stuff like that. So we're, yeah, like I said, try not to get involved in that and feel bad for them, but really I just, you know, it's best to stay out of the way. Well, closing in on Walmart. Getting around slow, people here. Don't feel like moving. And there's Wally World. Yep, so that's pretty much the rambling that I can, you know, think of right now at the moment. Getting around another signal. Gas is continuing to increase on this side of town. Continue on our way. And blue lights on this little rice burner. Yeah, so it's starting to get cold, and fall's pretty much going right to winter, it seems like. And we got less than a month to go before we head south of the border to Mexico. And all, you know, I've mentioned it, I think previously, you know, everything's still on go. But, you know, we are keeping tabs on the mayhem in Iguala. If things don't simmer down, or we think it's, you know, determined that it's really not that safe to go, then we could be postponing our trip. But right now, as I said, everything's on go, and we're going to make every effort to, you know, go on this trip. And there's an old Jeep, an old Wagoneer. Used to have one of those way back in the day. Well, adios to the Wagoneer. I got to make a turn. You know, we got the little frogs in the road. Yeah, it's kind of dark down the back roads here. Well, I'm about here, so I guess I'll wrap up this portion until the game's over, and then we'll ramble on about the trip home. Well, another horrid game. It showed promise, but yeah, looks like both the Bills and the Panthers will be watching the playoffs and the Super Bowl from home. It's just another one of those seasons, it looks like. Oh well, we're used to it. So, we'll just continue on home. Let's see what we see along the way. A little breezy tonight, that's for sure. It's going to be chilly, I know that. Like down into the low 30s. Yeah. Winter's about here. A lot of leaves on the roads, so man. Yeah, not much on the back road. Yeah, not much on the back road. Now we're on the main stretch. Yeah, not too bad. Quiet straightaway. Yeah, not too bad at all. Hardly any cars out. It's fine with me. Nice peaceful nighttime trip home. Yep, continuing through the dark. Well, I made it to the Shell station, 254. Yeah, got more lights. Back passing by Wally World. Kind of quiet over there. Great, these idiots are side by side. Good, that one's turning off. Perfect. Get around these slow pokes. Another damn signal. A little quiet down this straightaway. Gas here is 253. It's closed. Yeah, and there's that new QT. Those things have been popping up like crazy. What's the gas there? It's showing 250, I believe. Huh. And this one's 249. So we're getting lower as we get into town. Kangaroo, 249. Alright, getting back into civilization. People turning left, right. I'll continue to go straight. Alright, back into civilization. Yeah, there's that closed car wash. What's going to happen with it? Gas at the Shitgo, 254. Looks like it's happening at the Shitgo. And finally, the BP, which is always high. What's it showing? 259. Amazing. Alrighty then. Looks like the signals are going to work with me here, which is excellent. Alright, sweet. Well, since I'm about home, I guess we'll wrap up this evening adventure. Hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, adios!